For connection. I'm Mira Rubin here with you on Enlightened World Network. And today's topic, I think we might have a technical issue here. Let's see. It looks like we might. I can't really tell if we're uh, on board here. Let me just see. We might be before I launch in. Okay, it looks like we're good. So, um, today's topic is it's funny because there's always a gift. That's what today's topic is. Sorry about that. Momentary glitch. So today's topic is there's always a glitch. Always a glitch. No, always a gift. And what we're looking at is the challenges that life presents, even if they're painful, even if they're uncomfortable, awkward, whatever, even if we resist them, there's always a gift. And the opportunity to look for that is our greatest, one of our greatest strengths, to choose to look for the gift. So it should be an interesting conversation. But before we get started, let's just take a minute or two to get present. Let's take a deep breath in through your nose and hold it. And imagine clean, crisp oxygen flooding your lungs, flowing into your bloodstream, nourishing all your cells, all your organs, bringing vital life energy to your body and being. And as you exhale, exhale any tension, stress, negativity, fatigue. And now let's take another deep breath in through your nose and hold it. This time, imagine brilliant, bright light lighting you up from the inside out and illuminating, electrifying, and energizing all your cells, your molecules, your electrons, creating a brilliant beam of light and energy from your heart out into the world. And as you exhale, exhale any remaining tension, stress, negativity, fatigue. And now let's press our palms together, vigorously rub your hands together to feel the friction, the temperature, the pressure, the motion, the tickling and tingling when you stop, and allow all those sensations to bring you present right here, right now, into this remarkable physical form that enables us to experience life. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So we may be having a technical challenge. I don't know if I'm going to be able to see your comments. Hopefully, I'll keep my fingers crossed, but if I am not responding to your comments, it's because I don't see them. And typically you should be able to put your comments. Oh, Rosalind, good morning, good morning. So it's interesting, your comments not showing up on Restream. But I do see it on Facebook. So I'm going to try and monitor Facebook. This is an interesting challenge. So anyway, I will try to monitor Facebook to stay atop the comments. So we're talking about there's always a gift. And where this conversation came from, oddly enough, is a book that I mentioned a couple times that I was reading for our book club um, called Presence Activism, which I hated. I have to tell you, it's horrible to say that, but I really, really did not enjoy reading this book. And we were reading it for our book club, which you're welcome to join us in, by the way. It's called Regenerative Reads. And if you go to bookclubs.com, look up Regenerative Reads, you could join. And what we read is things that are uplifting, educational, hopefully delightful. In any case, this book was a slog. And given the title, I was very excited about this notion of presence activism because it connects very deeply to my heart. So what I wanted to share is that despite really not enjoying, okay, now I think I just relaunched Restream, so hopefully I'll be able to see your comments now. And if you'd be willing to put a comment in the chat so that I can test that theory, that would be great. The thing that I want to share is that despite the good morning, Brandy. Welcome. So good to have you joining us this morning. Anyway, despite the challenge and the pain in its way of reading this book, there were some things to glean from it. There were some bits of wisdom, and there were things about it that I appreciated. So I appreciate. Oh, good, Brandy. Thank you. Testing. It's showing up in Restream. We're good to go. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, so it was talking about presence, and one of the things that I so appreciated about this book was that she talked about the necessity for personal growth and development in cultivating presence. And this is really a foundational conversation that we have here ongoingly, is that it's as we release our attachment to the past or the future, to our our beliefs. We talk about holding things with open hand. When we release our attachment to these things and we work on clearing our past traumas and triggers, then it enables us to be more deeply present, which I resonate with. There was a lot foundationally that I resonated with ideologically, but the way that the book was presented was really, really challenging. Anyway, the point is that even though the only reason I pushed myself through reading that book was because I had the commitment to the book club, there was benefit that I received in the conversation that generated from the book. You know, as we were discussing it and the ideas in it, it was a catalyst to positive and powerful conversation. And I think that this is the case with so many of the challenges that we encounter in our lives, particularly if we allow ourselves to look, if we actively choose to look for the benefit, look for the gift. And so this also, at the same book club meeting, we were talking about the political atmosphere and climate crisis, and how people are experiencing a lot of fear and upset and anger. And it's easy to get swept up into that consensus reality that is fueled, absolutely fueled by fear, disruption, lack of safety, or the feeling of feeling threatened, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm not saying that that reality doesn't exist. It certainly does. There's all kinds of reasons that we could find to be frightened and angry and threatened. And in the face of that, it's not either or, it's both and. And in the face of that, we have the opportunity also to be saying, well, what is a new and emerging potential here that might not have otherwise existed because of the extreme circumstances. There's potentially a greater opening for connection, for really expressing and being present in and through our humanity with one another, with the circumstances, that we can find bridges, we can find ways to reclaim our connection and humanity. So even in this fractious environment, there is, I believe, a greater opportunity to step into connection. It's kind of like when there's an emergency, people move past their differences. People transcend their differences. So what's coming to mind right now is 9/11, and noticing. I was in New York not long after 9/11, and the way that people pulled together everywhere, the way that people provided comfort to one another, the way that people connected in the face of this tragedy was profound. And yes, there was a lot of fear, and yes, there was also a lot of vilification of some particular groups, which is the dark side of this. But there was also a sense of pretty global support and connection, at least in the immediate aftermath. And I was speaking to somebody in a session. They had the image of the yin and yang, the black and the white. And so there's sort of a paisley shape within a circle. I'm sure most of us are familiar with it. And then in the top of the paisley is another circle. So in the black paisley piece is the white circle, and on the other side, in the white circle, in the white paisley piece, is a black circle. And we're used to seeing the yin and yang symbol as static, and we typically will see the black and the white. And if we can imagine the circles within the paisley shape are the emergence of the other energy, and if we can imagine this thing in motion, it's the dynamic of change. It's the dynamic of what looks like a polarity, but the thing is that it's contained within the circle or within the sphere. So the sphere or the circle is what's unifying the light and the dark. And if we look at ourselves and our strengths and our weaknesses, they are most often two sides of the same coin. Good morning, Dido. So good to have you here with us. Welcome. So if we look at these two sides, it's not really two sides. It's reflections of a whole. It's communications of or shadows, flickerings, expressions of a greater whole that is all of it. And good morning, Jennifer. So good to have you joining us this morning. Welcome. So there's always a gift. And if we can look at the most, this was also really powerful in a session that I had with another client who had this most brilliant, beautiful visualization, being in the mouth of a whale. It was magnificent vision, and the teeth of the whale became figures, and figures of wisdom, and these figures shared, I'm the one who hurt your mother, I'm the one who hurt your father, I'm the one that hurt you. And these things were being reported, not with any guilt or shame, or just reporting. This was part of it. And all of those wounds were, the revelation was that all of those wounds, generationally, intergenerationally, were essential for the becoming, for the evolution, for the expansion of awareness. It was really beautiful. And what this person was able to experience was that it was all from love, that it all emerged from love. And the where they ended with, even though it's not necessarily expressed as love, but what they ended with was an experience of being deeply loved, and that there were all these different factors at play in their emergence, in the awakening of their consciousness. Dido says strengths and weaknesses are two sides of the same coin. Yes, I was just telling my son that about our hyper focus abilities can be hard to stop when need to, but it's also one of our superpowers. 100%. That's such a good example, Dido. Welcome, Shosho. So good to have you with us this morning. Welcome. So yeah, the hyper focus, or attention to detail. I taught graphic design software for 18 years. And um, my I my contention was that all good designers have some element of ADD and OCD, because there needs to be an attention to detail and a focus that allows you to kind of get out of yourself and move the creative juices, so to speak, through. And I had, at one point, my vision, or my ability to detect a hairline difference in alignment was so developed. And it was pretty OCD. It was just like, oh, it has to be precise. And that can become a real challenge, because it was part of a perfectionism for me, that was many times stifling and paralyzing. So the perfectionism in certain places, for example, can be a wonderful gift. And in other places, it can be a deep impediment to doing anything, because it has to be done perfectly. So I consider myself a recovering perfectionist, and I imagine that there are a number of you out there too. But when we are able to direct these gifts and curses, strengths and weaknesses, when we're able to find a way to moderate them or direct them, that's an even greater gift. And rather than beating ourselves up for the bad side of the good, maybe we can recognize that there is no bad, there is no good. It is what is, and as we can recognize patterns and behaviors, maybe we have the opportunity to change them. So, like, our sensitivity can be a superpower too, right? Our sensitivity to other people's feelings and being able to read a room, and it can help us be really good communicators. And our sensitivity can also be like the poison pill, because we pick up so much stuff from all around us, right? The point of today's conversation is really to be able, when we're confronted with things that we don't like, and that we may even be resisting, and that may even be painful, whether it may not be in that very moment, but there is going to be an opportunity to choose to look for the gift. And we're not talking about spiritual bypassing, because this is a big deal. Spiritual bypassing being, here I am where something tragic just happened, and rather than feeling the human emotion of it, I just go into, well, there's a gift here, or, without experiencing our humanness too, because we do have an emotional beingness. Like, our emotionality is a very important part of our being, and it brings our attention to part of our being that is calling for attention, that is generating a communication. So one of the things that has made a huge difference for me in life is allowing the emotions to be a communication from another dimension of my own intelligence, and then to draw my awareness to whatever that emotion is, and the energetic experience of that, because I believe more and more, as I witness thousands of client sessions, that emotion is energy. And when we allow it to move, it moves, it changes. Just like physical sensations, this is another experience. I don't know if this is the case for everybody, but I get lots of different sensations, which I in the past would have called pain, that move through my body at different times or places. And now I have learned to interact with those sensations as communications from my body, something that's calling to say, hey, pay attention here. Not like something's wrong, not like something has to be fixed, but, oh, here's a place to put attention. Where we put our attention, that's where energy moves. I find that, and I've shared this with you, and it's kind of miraculous to me, that when I feel these sensations, I'll say to my body, can you magic that? And that's just the way that I talk to my body, that I have come to recognize as such a magnificent intelligence, that I'll injure myself, and by allowing myself to be present in the experience of it and talking to my body heals things in miraculous ways. It just blows me away. And so the benefit of this for me, and I invite you to try this for yourself, the benefit is that I have become much more in relationship with my body. And sometimes these sensations are ways to just bring us present. And if we interact with them as sensations rather than as pain, for example, we're not resisting the experience of it. So for me, when I think about pain is typically something you want to go away, right? Things are uncomfortable. I want it to stop. And the first inclination is what's wrong instead of what's happening, and presencing ourselves to what's happening. And like a pain gets my attention. So it's my body saying, hey, pay attention over here. And I pay attention, and then things shift. And it's amazing. And so that's a gift, even though the discomfort of the sensation doesn't feel like a gift. What's it doing? It's bringing me into a deeper communication with my body. So I think so many of us are tempted to jump to what's wrong, what's wrong, what's wrong, instead of what's the communication, or here's an opportunity for presencing, or what is the opportunity here. And yes, initially maybe we have to process grief or pain or anger or frustration or whatever the emotion is, the negative emotion, and allow ourselves to experience the experience. Because when we wall off those emotions, we create stagnation and compression of energy. And then when we have come up for air from that, we can say, okay, so what's the opportunity? And sometimes it's wild as we practice this. Sometimes you feel it all at once. Sometimes there's the opportunity to sort of be in the meta position, kind of observing as witness while we're going through this deep emotional stuff. We get to see, oh, there's the deep emotional or reactive piece of me, and here I am watching that. And hopefully we get to watch it without judgment and with compassion. And so that's part of the message here, is when we recognize that there's always a gift, we can cultivate greater compassion for ourselves and our circumstances and our reactivity and all of that. So that's a lot, but maybe you can take it into the weekend and enjoy the strengths and weaknesses, the pleasures and pains, the yin and the yang, and bring it all together. So that's it for me today. I'm Mira Rubin. This is the Core Connection, and I go live here each weekday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern here on the Enlightened World Network Facebook page and YouTube channel. And I invite you to please like, follow, and share Enlightened World Network and me. The links are in the description. And as always, it is a privilege and a deep, deep pleasure to have the opportunity to share each morning with you these musings on what it is to be human. So until next time.